Welcome to the KR Films Entertainment channel. Now, today I'll show you a horror thriller film Primal Rage The Legend of OH-Mah. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Ash is on a road trip across America and she arrives in a prison. There she picks up her recently released boyfriend Max. At first they have an awkward reunion, but Max breaks the silence by thanking her for picking him up. Then he takes out his belongings and tries to smoke. However, Ash wants him to stop smoking habit since she doesn't want him to influence their kid. Then scenes of their family are shown from before Max was sent to prison. After that the scene gets back to Ash and Max in the car playing around with the radio. Suddenly as shots by the side of the road and then they try to start playing something smelly at the back of the car. Unfortunately Max ruins it as he has weak hormones and finishes before it even starts. The following moment is drives to a gas station to get fuel. When they arrive, Ash refills the car's tank while Max buys some goods at the convenience store. Max comes across a sheriff asking a clerk about a missing person. The clerk told the sheriff a big forgot the missing person. A sheriff asks the clerk to call him if he ever sees the missing person, and he puts a poster among many other missing person posters before leaving. Then Max comes to check out the things he got. Suddenly the clerk tells him of the rumor that Bigfoot is lurking around the mountains and Max will be Bigfoot next victim. Max thinks the clerk's insane, so he leaves outside. Ash is seen being cackled by a bunch of ruffians. Max arrives and tries to intimidate them off, fails as she's this and tells him they should leave. While driving, Max hands her beer, which starts an argument. It seems that Ash thinks he doesn't learn his lesson in prison and still acts immature even if they are already starting a family. Suddenly they run over a half-naked man on the road. They start to see if the man is okay. When they look, he's heavily injured. They also notice that some of his injuries are from the car bumping into him. As decides to call emergency services to get help for the man. However, Max thinks it's a bad idea since he just got off prison. Still Ash continues called since she thinks someone else did those brutal injuries to the man. Suddenly maximizes someone in the forest. Is revealed to be OH-Mah, the Big Four, its name for Native Americans. OH-Mah starts throwing rocks at them and the couple take cover. However, Max gets hit and falls downhill. There he falls into the river and Ash chases after him. As reaches Max in the river only to see that he is unconscious. After going through the rapids they float. There was show as she's that Max isn't waking up, so she performed CPR on him. Luckily he wakes up and they go to dry land to warm themselves up. There they use Max's letter and make a campfire. Meanwhile OH-Mah pushes Ash's car off a cliff and drives the injured man's body away. Meanwhile the chauffeur arrives of the station where he meets the wife of the recent missing person. The sheriff for sure asks her to find her husband and he heads inside the station to meet with his deputy. The deputy insists that the missing persons are related to OH-Mah. However, the sheriff does not believe and Folktales Shares operator interrupts their conversation and says that they received a distress call, the one from Ash. After that the sheriff quickly heads out to the said location. As he arrives he doesn't find anyone of the road, so he looks around and sees the couple's car down on the cliff. He calls for a tow truck to get the car to investigate a couple's disappearance. As the night falls the couple sits by the campfire. Max assures Ash the show get back to their child as soon as they get back to the road. Meanwhile the tow truck arrives and pulls the car off the cliff. A deputy searches the car and reports to the sheriff the details of the couple. Sheriff finds out that Max is recently released from prison. He asked his deputy to make it background check on the couple because he thinks that Max might have done a crime again. Suddenly the sheriff notices something watching him from the forest. He tries to look for it but gives up after fighting nothing. The next day Ash wakes up from a nightmare where she sees the injured man. As she wakes up she realizes that her clothes are gone, so she calls Max and asks him where her clothes are. Max tells her that he didn't touch her clothes since they can only find her shoes. Max uses his shirt so that they can begin their walk back to the car. Before they leave he uses nature's bathroom. Meanwhile it seems that OH-Mah has tracked them down and he seems so like Ash. As they head upriver they hear gunshots. Ash realizes that it's the group of ruffians from the gas station. Max suggests that they should ask them for help. Ash doesn't like this idea, but they have no other choice. Back at the station the deputy is doing the background check on the couple. The sheriff learns about Max's imprisonment and finds out that Ash just recently picked him up. However, he doesn't see anything that connects to their recent disappearance. The deputy still insists that it's OH-Mah and he tells the sheriff to meet the whispering woman to get answers. The sheriff refuses since he's scared of her and he does not believe OH-Mah. Meanwhile Max sees the ruffians and heads over to ask for help while leaving Ash behind to avoid trouble. Max talks to the ruffians. Ash gets stopped again by OH-Mah. OH-Mah comes close to her and cuts a strand of her hair. This frees Ash out, so she runs to Max. The ruffians get aroused while seeing Ash, so their leader tells them to calm the hormones. The ruffians leader explains to Max that they don't have phones or walkie-talkies that work. However, Max notices the leader's walkie-talkie and a leader tells him it's broken. The leader tells the couple that they have a working radio in their truck. Then Refuse leader offers them to join their trip back to the truck and a couple agrees. At the impound, the show sees huge claw marks on the couple's car, so if you start wondering if it really is almost doing Ben, the sheriff goes to the gas station and posts a new missing person poster for the couple there. The clerk insists again that Big forgot them. This makes the sheriffs think that this is likely the case. Shortly after, he returns to the police station where the deputy notices his dilemma. The deputy tells him to meet with their tribe's whispering woman through a ceremony later at night. A sheriff agrees and prepares for that night. Meanwhile, the couple and ruffians continued traveling back to the trucks. Just then Ash thinks that they're going the wrong direction of the road. The Russian leader insists that where they're going is where the trucks are. The couple gets suspicious but continues hiking with them. After hiking for a while, Max gets irritated by the Russian leader calling him an ex-convict. This almost causes a fight between Max and the mini ruffians, but luckily a leader calms his minions down. Then Ash insists they should just hand over the broken walkie-talkie the leader so they could fix it and make a call. The leader insists that they cannot do anything about it, but suddenly a dumb ruffian short named Demo reveals it is actually working. Demo realizes his mistake, so he takes a leak as an excuse while this friend follows him. After that, the leader orders another one Russia in short named Wimp to bring them back deep in the forest. Done what takes a leak while his friends wait for him. Suddenly his friend gets shot in the neck with a long arrow. Donner looks for the archer and he also gets impaled to a tree with an arrow. As he dies, he sees that the archer's OH-Mah, and OH-Mah crushes his eyeballs and skull. Meanwhile, when follows Demo's trail and he notices movements in Growl, and from their direction he runs away as fast as he can. When true Oops embrace his arms, suddenly OH-Mah is seen nearby and Wimp hides behind a tree. Shortly after, O sees Wimp and quickly decapitate him. At the main group's location, they hear to scream from the other ruffians, and one of the ruffians jokes that it's just those three guys having fun with each other. Suddenly Ash snaps and demands answers on what's going on. The leader reveals that they're going to their illegal operations deep in the forest. Any friends the couple to cooperate. Suddenly one of the Russians drops dead while the others are laughing. After realizing he really is dead, they look around for his killer and one of the ruffians short named Runner runs away, then almost circles around them and one of the ruffians freaks out and shoot wildly. A leader tries to calm him down but fails. Max grabs this opportunity to tell Ash to run and hide. All the Russians are distracted. Just then the wild shooter ends up shooting one his friends Max. After that he runs out of bullets and OH-Mah rushes to him to slit his throat. Meanwhile, Ash comes back to check on the injured Max. However, she's forced to run as OH-Mah chases after her. During their chase, she runs into Runner. Unfortunately, OH-Mah catches Runner and forcefully opens his mouth wide at Ash. Runs away. Her mom leaves Runner and proceeds to chase Ash. During her chase, she gets caught by almost trap. Ben, her mom brings her back to Max with the dead ruffians. After that, OH-Mah kills Runner, who crawled back to the group. They almost use Max and tortures him in front of Ash. Fortunately, OH-Mah doesn't kill Max right away, which gives the ruffian leader enough time to shoot OH-Mah. However, OH-Mah only gets injured on one arm, so B captures the leader and Ash and brings them back to his lair. Meanwhile, Sheriff joins the tribe's ceremony so he can meet the whispering woman. The following night, the ceremony begins at a native's hut. The sheriff drinks an elixir and starts seeing visions of OH-Mah killing the missing persons and the ruffians. He also sees the whispering woman in the vision saving Max from death. After seeing that Mah's the culprit, he goes out of the hut and his vision gets blurry as he stares at the night sky. After that, he gets summoned by the whispering woman. Meanwhile, in OH-Mah lair, Ash is held captive alongside the Russian leader and the other dead ruffians. Then OH-Mah shows us ape-like ugly face which scares Ash and the Russian leader out of their snow. Holy shit! The following moment, OH-Mah butchers the Russian leader to eat him, and after that treats his wounds. Shortly after, OH-Mah tries to harass Ash. The following day, Max wakes up in the whispering woman's house. There he meets the sheriff, who explains OH-Mah to him the OH-Mahs are believed to be the spirits of their native chief ancestors that guard the fort. He adds that the whispering woman watches over OH-Mah and that the OH-Mah who is causing trouble back corrupted by the evils of man. He tells Max that since OH-Mah, that jealous of Max being Ash's boyfriend, his pride ended up saving Max and gave the Russian leader an opportunity to injure OH-Mah. This gives them a chance to save Ash if they proceed to fight OH-Mah. Without hesitation, Mac decides to fight alongside the sheriff. They gather up the weapons of Oman to use against it. The sheriff more as Mac's not to bring guns as gunpowder can be smelled by Omar. However, the sheriff brings a gun and he covers it with a stinky gel to camouflage the smell, and they also use the stinky gel on themselves. Then as they go front Omar, the whispering woman beat the drums. This alerts Omar and he prepares himself for battle. Meanwhile, Ash gets a tooth that she sharpens and uses it to escape. Then she gets a gun from the dead ruffians to use against Omar. As the sheriff and Max get near Omar, Larry separate as the sheriff tells him to save his wife. Then the sheriff brings out his gun and alerts Omar of his presence since Omar still smells the gunpowder. Shortly after, Omar ambushes the sheriff and they start fighting. The sheriff gives a shot on Omar but unfortunately he dies. Omar bites off his neck. Max and Asher thus go in the direction to confront it Oman. Just then they reunite. Wells uses all her guns ammo to injure Omar. She then runs away and Max follows her. Max realizes they can't outrun, so he tells Ash to run for the road while he confronts Omar. Ash refuses but Max promises her that he'll get her back to their child. Ash runs towards the road while Max flaws Omar away from her. Then Max and Oman get into a fight. Omar obviously has the upper hand. Fortunately, at the last moment, Max makes a shit out of his spear and stabs Omar repeatedly. After winning, he resists. Sigh of relief that this nightmare has ended and he daydreams of reuniting with Ash. However, is revealed that there is more than one Oman. The guards the forest and a kill Max. The film ends as Ash reaches the road and walks back into town, unaware that she will never see Max again.